Hello everyone, I'm Rona, one of the F8 tutors, and I'm here to give you the F8 tips for December 2014. Now before we move on to the tips, let's talk a little bit about the format of the exam. Now I'm sure most of you know that the format of the exam has changed. So previously we had one 30-mark question, one 10-mark question, and three 20-mark questions. But now we have section A and we have section B. In section A we have 12 multiple choice questions. So you have multiple choice questions of 2 mark and 1 mark. Now when it comes to predicting areas from which the multiple choice questions can be asked, you cannot really predict because they expect you to study the whole syllabus. So multiple choice questions can be asked from the entire syllabus. Now when it comes to section B, you have 10-mark questions and you have 20-mark questions. So you'll be getting 4 10-mark questions and 2 20-mark questions. Now the areas that can be tested in terms of the 10-mark questions are ethics, corporate governance, internal audit, and completion. Now when we speak about completion, they can either ask you questions on going concern, subsequent events, or audit reports. Now when we speak about the 20-mark questions, the areas that can be tested are audit risk. Another area that can be tested is internal controls. Now the way an internal control question comes is you will be asked to identify the weakness. You might be asked to give a recommendation or a control, or you might also be asked to put a test of control in place. Another question that can be asked in the 20-mark question is substantive procedures. Now let's move on to the tips for December 2014 by Preethy and myself. You will need to look at the following areas: management and auditors' responsibility with respect to fraud and error and laws and regulation. Another area that could be tested is ethical threats. Now how will they ask you this ethical threat question? You might be asked to identify the ethical threat, and for each ethical threat you have to give a safeguard. Another area that can be asked is audit committee. A question could be asked on internal audit and external audit. So you might be asked to differentiate between internal audit and external audit. You might be asked a question on audit risk. So questions on audit risk, what usually comes is you're supposed to identify the audit risk and you're supposed to give the auditor's response to those particular audit risk. Analytical procedures could be asked. Now when it comes to internal control questions, the cycles that could be tested are revenue cycles and purchase cycles. When it comes to substantive procedure questions, the account balances that could be tested are property, plant and equipment, inventory, trade receivables, and trade payables. CAATs is also another area that could be asked in the December 2014 sitting. You could be asked questions on subsequent events, and finally audit reports. Now audit reports is an area that's tested in every sitting. So the way they ask you the question is they will ask you to give or tell what the impact on the audit report is. Now these are the tips for the December 2014 sitting. I wish you guys all the best. Good luck.